I'm going to warn you right now that today's video might be a little bit controversial, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject, so if you feel brave enough to keep watching, it's not that bad or that controversial really. Please do. So I recently read White Cat by Holly Black, which I would wave in front of you, except that it was so good I lent it to my boyfriend. It was so good in fact that I couldn't resist starting the next book in the series, Red Glove, straight away. And then when I finished reading Red Glove I thought to myself, oh god, have I just created a real problem for myself, because I read White Cat and then went straight on to reading Red Glove without writing my review of White Cat. Is it going to be really hard to write the review of White Cat now? Because I know what happens in the next book. Will I not be able to remember what it was like to have only just read the first book? And then I thought to myself, actually no, that's not a problem, because I know what it was like to first get into the series and how interesting it was discovering the world of the book for the first time, and I can talk about how great the characters are, and I can talk about the plot, and I actually realised that it was probably going to be more difficult writing a review of the second book, because second books are always a problem. They're just kind of in the middle and you can't really introduce them, and then I realised, who even reads second book reviews? I mean, I do. Sometimes. If I read the first book, which means 99.9% of the time, no, I don't read them. You know, I would just skip over them because I haven't read the first book. And then I've pretty much made up my mind by the end of the first book whether I'm going to read the second. A review really isn't going to sway me one way or the other. There are a few books where I didn't enjoy the first one that much, so if I read a really good review of the second book, then I will probably give it a go. But to be honest, there aren't that many books like that I have actually read the second book of. Usually I just kind of think, well, that sounds okay, but the first book didn't really inspire me, so maybe I'll give it a miss and read a book I'm actually excited about. So anyway, my point is, who are reviews of the second book of the series for? Are they all just for the people who aren't sure whether they're going to read the second book? Because I think most of us do make our minds up by the end of the first book whether we'll be interested in reading a sequel. I think third books in a series are, if anything, even harder to review than the second book, because you get to the third book and there's just so many spoilers you can barely say anything in your review. Otherwise you have to sort of do a review with spoilers, which is more of a discussion post, because the only people who can read it are people who've read the book or have no intention of reading the book. You can't really write a review of a third book in a series in order to persuade somebody to read it, because people really will have made their minds up after 2 books, or they won't want any spoilers, so they won't read it. Some people like to read reviews afterwards. I am actually one of those people. When I finish reading a book, I will immediately Google it to find out what other bloggers thought about it, but I don't know if I'm the only one. And so I'm thinking that maybe it's better to just review the first book in a series, or the whole thing altogether. I mean, if you're reviewing a series all in one go, then obviously you're going to mostly talk about the first book, and you're going to talk about things like world building and the characters and the general overall plot, kind of in a vague sense so you don't spoil anybody. And I think that works. Maybe that's the way forward. Maybe I should stop reviewing second and third books in a series. I'm just concerned that maybe they're a little bit of a waste of time, especially if all the books in the series are already out. Let me know what you think in the comments, because as you can tell from this video, I'm still quite undecided about this subject. I think it would be a shame not to review second and third books in trilogies and series, but at the same time, I'm not really sure there's that much point, and I feel like readers of my blog will get more out of reading reviews of first books in series and of series as a whole. Again, please do leave me a comment, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Bookish Brits if you haven't already, and follow us on all the social media in the world. Bye!